Adding terms and conditions to your project. This tutorial applies to PHP Runner, ASP.NET and ASP Runner Pro. I received a question from someone in the comments on how you would go about adding T's and C's to a project. Users must accept the terms and conditions every time during login. Access to the application will be blocked until terms and conditions are accepted. Now, there are probably many ways to do this, but this is how I would approach something like this. I added a column to the user table called terms. It is of type tinyInt. I will store either 0 or 1, indicating whether the user accepted the T's and C's or not. 0 for no and 1 for yes. I now create a new table that will store the terms and conditions itself. In this example, I will need an ID and a field to store the HTML data in. You can add other fields like type in case you have different terms and conditions you would like to store. Okay, the new table is created and I will add a test record so we have something to work with. I now open the project and add the new table. Note, you may need to synchronize the database before the table will show up. At the Choose Pages screen, I am only going to select View Record. Now this can create a little bit of a challenge to get to the view page as I don't have a listing page. But it's not the end of the world and we'll demonstrate in a moment. I don't need the ID or type, so I remove them here from the Choose Field screen. Let's have a quick look at the permissions. My plan is to remove access from the two tables, orders and order details, until the signed on user accepts the terms and conditions. By default, all users have access to both tables. At the Page Designer, the Terms and Conditions view page, I want to hide the Back to List and Close Windows buttons. I suppose you can just delete them, but I prefer to hide buttons by copying the hide item code for each button. I paste the code here at the before process event of the view page. Back at the Page Designer, Common Pages menu, I want to change the link. The view page for a record ID 1 will be my table name plus underscore view.php question mark edit ID 1 equals 1. To do this, I change the link to external page and supply the URL. I do the same for the menu item within the menu editor from the style editor page. I am probably going to delete these links later on, but this will help to get to the view page as we do not have a listing page. You can also type the URL in your browser, which may be quicker for most of us. Anyway, let's move on. At the events page, the Get Table Permissions event of the orders table, you can override the current table permissions by changing this $permissions variable. For example, if you change the string to S before the return, the sign-on user will only be able to list, view and search. Very handy if you ask me. But we need to do some more coding. First, I use current user data from the security API to get the entire user record in an array. Although terms are available within this user record, the security API does not always recognize the change from 0 to 1 immediately. I therefore do a database lookup to this field using the user identifier field in the $user data array. Now that we have the user terms value, we can do a test against it. So, if the user terms are 0, we change the $permission string to nothing. Remember to leave at least one space. I now copy the same code to the Get Table Permissions event of the orders detail table. Okay, let's see what we have so far. As you can see, it shows the HTML code and I can probably remove the label. Back at the page designer, view as HTML. I now refresh the page and that looks much better. Okay, I'm now going to add two buttons, reject and accept. I comment everything out at the client before event. At the server event, I get this sign-on user again. Now, create an array called update data. Set the terms field to 0 as this is the reject button. And finally, update the field using the update function of the database API. At the client after event, redirect to the terms and condition page as the reject button was used. Or a better idea may be to sign the user out using the security API. Oh, of course, this is what happens when you try to use PHP code in a JavaScript event. This must go to the server event. At the accept button, I do the same. The only difference is the terms will be 1 instead of 0. And redirect to the orders page instead. Now at the after successful login event, I set the terms field to 0 for the signed on user. This is to ensure users to accept the terms and conditions every time they sign on. Also, redirect to the terms and conditions view page. Okay, let's see how this goes. The reject button does not work. I think I forgot to redirect the page in the client after event. Yes, indeed. Let's uncomment the redirect code. Okay, let's see this time if the reject button works. And yes, it signs the user out. Perfect. I'm now going to accept. This time we have access to all tables. I will now remove the terms and conditions link and change the page to open in a pop-up instead. At the Page Designer, Common Pages menu, remove the link. Also remove the link using the menu editor from the Style Editor page. Okay, now for the pop-up. At the after successful login event, uncomment the page redirect. At the welcome page, as the welcome page is the next page that will open in my case, before display, again get the user record. Look up the terms field for this user and, if it is 0, set a proxy value. At the JavaScript Online event of the same page, test if the proxy is set and open the terms page if true. Finally, at the client after event of each button, replace the redirect with the following code. This will close the pop-up and reload the welcome page.